Chapter 8 Solitaire Confinement.
Mission Log Sol 5137 AOS BSN. Message received. Source Starlight.
Is that alright? Comfortable enough?
If Opportunity had the ability, it would have rolled its eyes at the unicorn, who is fussing with the large cushion the Rover currently sat on. The electrical motors whirred, but with one wheel missing and the others damaged from the accident, not to mention the wear and tear nearly 15 years on the dusty Martian surface had inflicted, Opportunity wasn't going anywhere.
Stop it!
Starlight chided the Rover.
You need to take it easy until we've got all the replacement parts ready.
Trixie, who had been watching her friend anxiously hover around the Rover, actually did roll her eyes at that.
Starlight, she complained. The great and powerful Trixie made time in her busy schedule to come to Ponyville and hang out with her best friend, not watch you obsess over a busted hunk of metal. I'm sorry, Trixie, it's just... I feel responsible for what happened,
Starlight replied, her ears flattening against the sides of her head.
Thanks for agreeing to watch him for me. I appreciate it. Yes, despite being blown off repeatedly for dinner, the great and magnanimous Trixie is happy to watch your pet robot for the afternoon.
Trixie harumphed.
He's not a pet, Trixie,
Starlight stated firmly, while getting together several technical documents strewn about the workshop and stuffing them in her saddlebag with her magic.
Just make sure he stays where he is. Until we figured everything out, we don't want to put any more stress on his wheels.
She turned back to the Rover and looked at him nervously.
Are you sure you're okay? Do you need anything else?
Status nominal.
There was probably some exasperation in that simple line of text the Rover had displayed on the screen for the umpteenth time that day, in response to Starlight's fussing.
Okay then,
Starlight replied dubiously, heading towards the door. Then she stopped and looked at Trixie, repeating the very same question.
Are you sure you're okay? Do you need anything else? Trixie thinks she can watch a hunk of metal for an afternoon,
she replied acidly.
I don't know what to do with it, but I'll figure it out. Now off you go.
Starlight pondered that for a while.
Talk to him. He loves to listen. And you can always give him a rock to study. No, wait, don't do that. His arm is damaged too. He probably shouldn't use it until we can fix it. And don't... You know what? Maybe I shouldn't go. Starlight!
Trixie cut her off unceremoniously.
You've been holed up in here for days. The reason I agreed to this in the first place was so that perhaps you wouldn't forget what the sun looks like. Now go. Go outside and get some fresh air already.
The unicorn looked uncertainly back at the Rover, and once again the line on the monitor appeared to carry along a silent groan.
Status nominal.
As much as Opportunity appreciated all that Starlight had done for it, her constant attention since the accident had been as much of an annoyance as it had been a comfort.
Okay, I'll be back as soon as I can,
she replied as Trixie began to physically nudge her through the door. Opportunity raised its instrument arm to wave goodbye, and silence filled the workshop, except for the muttering of a certain blue magician.
Honestly, you'd think this box of bolts was the most important thing in her life nowadays.
She went over to the rotor and swatted its side with a huff.
You shouldn't do that to her.
Opportunity focused Trixie with its cameras.
Starlight friend. Starlight no fault. Opportunity say many times.
Yeah, well,
Trixie acknowledged, sitting down next to Opportunity.
She does that. Wallows in her guilt, I mean. Even if she's got nothing to be sorry for.
Silence hovered over them. Trixie glanced around in search of a distraction. After thoroughly inspecting every corner of the room, she picked up a discarded piece of parchment and amused herself by turning it into a teacup and back several times. Opportunity watched the display with curiosity. The magician raised an eyebrow and smiled.
You like that? Want to see some more? Very well, hunk of metal. You will be Trixie's adoring audience for this performance. Behold!
Trixie grabbed a few more pieces of trash, turned them into teacups, and began juggling them in the air with her magic. She giggled as the rover tried to keep up with the display by swiveling its cameras this way and that.
Mineral composition changing. Process not recognized.
Trixie read the message.
It's magic, silly. It's really a minor trick in any magician's arsenal.
Trixie said expansively, despite having not picked up transmutation until well into adulthood herself.
Magic. Explain.
Trixie considered that for a moment, wondering if she should just give the magic kindergarten definition. Her own attitude towards her craft had changed somewhat over the last couple of years.
Well, to me, it's just what I do. It's my calling, my destiny, my way to make my mark on the world and spread the name of the great and powerful Trixie!
She reared up on her hind legs and sent some small fireworks, which had been cleverly hidden in some pockets of her cape, into the air.
Magic. Fun.
Yes, exactly,
Trixie shouted, pointing at the rover.
Magic should be fun. Ponies like Twilight Sparkle and even Starlight take it way too seriously sometimes. But it's also there to amaze and entertain.
She grinned and sat back down.
So, what do you do for fun all day?
Experiment. Fun.
Trixie sighed.
And here I thought we were getting along. Now you sound like Twilight Sparkle.
Opportunity sent a command via the BSN to the laptop to bring up a program it had found during its extended time of immobility. A new window opened, displaying several stacks of playing cards against a green background. The magician watched with interest as the cards began moving around at the rover's unspoken command.
What's this? A card trick?
The rover considered that for a moment.
Experiment. Make cards dance. Fun.
When did you have time to find this?
Night. Pony sleep. Opportunity awake. Opportunity look. Experiment. Try new things.
Don't you need sleep too?
Used to. Warm here. No extra heating required. Keep running instead. Power status, solar groovy.
Trixie continued to watch as the last card was placed in the top row, and then the screen lit up with the entire deck spraying across the screen. Opportunity looked at her.
Trixie, try.
All right,
Trixie said, noting the score on the screen. She smirked.
Ha! I can beat that. Watch a professional do it.
She moved the mouse, attempting to place a card after starting a new game, only for it to snap back to where it was.
How do you play this?
Watch.
Trixie grimaced as the console from Opportunity's speech parser automatically popped into the foreground and blocked out the view of the game.
We're gonna have to do something about that. I'm back,
Starlight announced as she opened the door to the workshop.
Quiet,
Trixie hissed.
You are breaking Trixie's concentration.
Starlight blinked, taking the time to actually see the scene before her. The first thing she noticed was that Opportunity was wearing a purple bow tie around its mast. She shrugged this off as one of Trixie's impulses, but then she noticed Trixie staring in concentration at a laptop while Oppie was focused on a different one.
Trixie, where did you get that computer? Trixie borrowed it from Twilight Sparkle,
the magician announced, not looking up and clicking the mouse a few times with her magic.
And by borrow, you mean?
Trixie rolled her eyes.
I broke into her lab and took it. Trixie! I'll give it back, but I needed a second one to teach the Bolt Beckett here a lesson.
Done.
A mechanical-sounding male voice suddenly said out of nowhere. Trixie looked over at Opportunity's screen, which showed the cards cascading across the victory screen.
Ah!
She threw up her hooves.
Okay, best out of 35. Ready, No!
All the replacement parts Starlight had been holding in her magic came crashing to the ground as she stared wide-eyed and slack-jawed at Opportunity.
Did you just...
Oppie's pancam turned towards Starlight, and upon recognizing her, the voice said haltingly,
Hello, Starlight. Would you like to play a game?
Starlight continued to stare.
Starlight?
The Rover turned to Trixie.
Starlight broken?
The blue unicorn looked up from her game, noticing her friend's blank stare.
Oh, don't worry. She'll come around.
She gave Starlight a self-satisfied smirk that just begged her to ask how she did it.
How?
Starlight managed to get out.
A magician never reveals her secrets.
Trixie's grin grew even wider as she left it there for a few seconds.
Building suspense, building suspense. Now. But she will make an exception for her wonderful assistant and best friend. Ta-da!
Trixie said, pointing at the purple bow tie and then taking a grandiose bow.
It's a prop. My dad invented it for his work shows in Las Pegasus. It lets you change and amplify your voice. Works great for ventriloquist acts, too. I hooked it up to your computer network thingy.
Trixie, show Starlight her trick.
Opportunity suggested.
Oh, yes.
Trixie clapped her hooves excitedly and flicked a switch on the bow tie with her magic.
You're gonna love this. We came up with it when we were taking a break from the game.
Clearing her throat and taking on a serious expression, she said,
Oppie-chan, engage Moe mode.
The Rover turned to look at Starlight, and what appeared to be the voice of a cute young filly said,
Konnichiwa, watashi wa opportunity desu. Isn't that great?
Trixie asked, switching the bow tie back to normal and grinning broadly.
You hooked it up to, and you taught him Japanese.
Hoof met face.
Huh.
Trixie mumbled.
I would have expected a little more gratitude.
Thank you, Trixie.
Opportunity said simply.
You're very welcome,
Trixie replied, beaming at the Rover. Starlight felt like her brain was churning along even worse than Oppie's wheels as she tried to take that all in. She took a deep breath, trying to get her thoughts in order.
Trixie, it took weeks, 2 Twilight Sparkles, and 2 magic-obsessed, formerly villainous unicorns to come up with the system, and you just intuited a major improvement for it over the course of an afternoon? And it seems to be even more accurate than the text output. Do you even understand how the binary sparkle network works?
Trixie huffed.
Well, first of all, Trixie is also a magic-obsessed, formerly villainous unicorn, thank you very much. So she's rather insulted that you didn't bring her in to consult sooner. Secondly, what's there to understand? The antenna thingy sends and receives magic waves. So, Trixie thought, instead of running everything through the nerd box, why don't you send the translation spell matrix out to the network itself and let the magic do all the heavy lifting? From there, the enchantment on the bow tie can pick it up and just do what it was designed to do in the first place. I really get the feeling that the 2 purple brainiacs were trying to reinvent the wheel here. Done.
Opportunity announced, and Trixie's head snapped around to see the victory screen going off once again.
What? Hey! No fair! That's cheating!
Trixie sat back down at her own laptop and restarted her game.
Do-over! Also, Trixie demands a rematch as soon as your arm is better. Let's see how quick you are when you can't just think the commands at the game.
Trixie just slow.
Opportunity replied calmly.
Why, you? I bet you rigged the game with your ones and zeros.
She shot back, though there was clearly no malice in her voice.
Only 0 opportunity sees Trixie number of wins.
As she watched 2 of her best friends bicker back and forth good-naturedly as if they'd known each other for a lifetime rather than just an afternoon, something rose in Starlight's throat. First she snorted once, twice, then she began to giggle. and before long she'd flopped over onto the floor in a full belly laugh. 3 days of worrying and guilt lifting from her shoulders in an instant. Opportunity and Trixie watched Starlight. Opportunity couldn't, but Trixie smiled for both of them. She held out her hoof, and the Rover's instrument arm bumped against it.